What's up, you guys? This is Jay Young2 back with another video. And in this video today, if you saw the title and the thumbnail, you can process information. Good for you. But as you all know, there's been many rumors these last few weeks about one team. And this one team, you know, they started making moves. I remember like it was yesterday. They started making moves out of nowhere just a few seasons ago in free agency. The Chicago Bulls, when they acquired DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso. I mean, these guys, they had great pieces on their team. Not to mention the Bulls had drafted Patrick Williams, who has shown some potential to grow. Some other great young players as well on this team. Not to mention, of course, all of this in the purpose of retaining Zach LaVine on the roster. And luckily enough, they did accomplish that goal. Zach LaVine did re-sign with the Chicago Bulls. Let's all be real. Let's all be just really real about this. Even if the Bulls made all these moves, many of us knew at the time that this team was just going to be another mix in the Eastern Conference. They weren't going to be a championship level team. They had the Milwaukee Bucks, 76ers. They had many other great teams, the Celtics, for crying out loud, that were still better than this Bulls team. But looking at them on paper during this time, man, I was just really excited. Like Chicago, you know, like they're actually trying to make themselves relevant again. The last time the Bulls have actually been relevant was when they had Derrick Rose in his prime. They had now a star player, a franchise player in Zach LaVine, who was a very talented basketball player. The Bulls, they actually made the right choices in that build-up, though, before all those trades happened. The Bulls did it the right way. They drafted many of their players they didn't hit on every single one, but they drafted their guys, and they had a rebuilding phase on that team. And of course, when the time was right, they made the moves to acquire the guys who they did on the team. That first season, the Bulls at their best at one point were the top team in the Eastern Conference. You know, that Bulls team, DeMar DeRozan he was just playing so great. Zach LaVine was playing pretty good, still trying to find his way. Nikola Vucevic wasn't that bad, but let's be real. As I said before, we knew that this team would still be in the middle of the pack. And they finished that year on a disappointing run, and they got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. And you know, the sad part about all of that is that was the only time the Bulls ever even made the playoffs. They struggled the next season, and looking at where they are this season, it's not even better. We all know, you know, and some injuries play a role in that. I believe Lonzo Ball, if he was healthy, that he could really change the dynamic of this team. Because as you all know, when they were on that big run, when the Bulls are a really good team, Lonzo Ball was heavily involved in that period. But once this guy got hurt, lost one of their top playmakers on the team. They lost one of their best defenders on that team, because we all know DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Vucevic, they can play defense. That's why they acquired Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball to begin with. But now, in losing Lonzo Ball, who is your starter on this team, things got worse. It's not just Lonzo Ball that was the reason the Bulls weren't really good. It was many other reasons. I mean, when their big threes playing all together on the court for the Bulls, many of their categories and when it comes to statistics, they go down when all these three guys on the court together. That part about this year is that they're one of the worst rating offensive teams and defensive teams in the entire NBA. And not to mention, I mean, they have the 13th best record in the Eastern Conference, which is absolutely terrible. And of course, there has been many rumors about guys on the team getting traded. I mean, them potentially starting it over. And I believe that they should. I mean, Patrick Williams, for crying out loud, he has been a shell of himself now on the Chicago Bulls team. I think with all of the additions that have been added over this team over the last few years, it's really stunt his growth and overall development as a basketball player. But not only that, but just looking back at this trade, I believe that if the Bulls didn't trade for Nikola Vucevic, this team would be a lot better. Look at what Wendell Carter Jr. now is doing on the Orlando Magic. You know, he wasn't as good on the Chicago Bulls, so you can't really blame him for the time for doing this trade, but he really found himself really on this Orlando Magic team. And look at the Magic. They have one of the best records in the Eastern Conference in comparison to the Chicago Bulls team. Nikola Vucevic, I believe, was one of the worst acquisitions they made. Yeah, he is a great offensive player. Prior to the trade, he was a 20-plus point per game scorer, an all-star, everything. He had many great accolades, but defense was never one of his strongest suits. And acquiring him on this team really wasn't going to help. And if we're really being honest, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, they were somewhat of an awkward pairing, if we're really being honest. That's why, when they had Patrick Beverley on the roster and the team, this was a really good team, I believe, as far as the fit, because they needed a steady point guard on the Chicago Bulls team. And that's why Lonzo Ball was so important as well on this team, because of his playmaking ability and really just dictating the offense, just period. But this Bulls experiment really failed. The Bulls, they have probably one of the most loyal fan bases in the NBA. They lead the league in attendance many years now, and the Bulls, just seeing them, fail on this experiment is just really sad, because they did, have to sacrifice pieces. And of course, they still really have these guys still on the team. That's just the reality of the situation. And really, hearing all these trade rumors about Alex Caruso, about DeMar DeRozan, about Zach LaVine, I've been hearing rumors that Zach LaVine could possibly be traded to the Spurs. I believe some other teams like the Kings are in the mix. I can't really remember, but there's many teams, of course, that would love to have Zach LaVine as talent. So I believe that if the Bulls really want to become a great team, they're going to really just have to take that route again and actually just rebuilding a team. When they had that opportunity, they were rebuilding a team. They did go that route before, but I believe they should, of course, do this again, draft smart, get draft picks, and just really invest in the future of the team instead of trying to become a great team now. From the start, really, with this Chicago Bulls team, if we're just really being real, this team was never going to be a championship level team. They had the talent, but they, in comparison to other teams in the East and, of course, in the Western Conference, they were just really, in reality, another team in the mix. But I hope you guys enjoyed this brief video today. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more basketball content each and every single week. Have a great day. Peace.